How's it going, guys? I hope everyone is having a great week and is staying motivated to finish out the semester. I know I am, so I'm trying my best. So for this week's discussion, I chose to take the hidden bias tests, and I thought they were really interesting. I didn't really know what to think of them going into these tests, uh, but yeah, they're. I thought they were super informative and eye opening. I didn't realize that I'm a lot more biased. You could say than I originally thought. But basically, reading the article, it talks about how it's one of our natural instincts to categorize people, and we have this ability to quickly and automatically categorize people based off of different characteristics that others have. And that's really the root of bias and prejudice and discrimination. The article also goes on to talk about how children as early as the age of 3 tend to pick up things such as like racial prejudice and different stuff like that. Um, but yeah, and so it's kind of interesting seeing how um, based off of this ability to naturally categorize people leads to prejudice, and how we look at one group of people with similar characteristics in one way, and how we judge them based off of another group. And yeah, so um, basically, so when you first go to take the test, it gives you some options to see if to test yourself to see if you have a particular bias, or how biased you are against like a certain group of people. So the 3 tests I decided to do, I did a disability bias test, like a test to see if I have any biases over people with disabilities. And the second one was with overweight people, to see if I have any biases there. And the third one was religion, to see if I have any biases there when it comes to religion. And I decided to take that last one because we live in a fairly religious community here in Utah Valley. So I just thought it'd be interesting to see if I do have any hidden biases there. But basically, yeah, so the first one I took was the disability one. And so to be fair, this is the first test I took, and I didn't really know what was going on. But basically, what this test had me do, it had me answer 10 or so questions, is asking if if I consciously preferred able people to disabled people. And I didn't really go one way or the other in my answers. But then after that, it had me do this kind of, I don't know how you describe it. Basically, it'd throw up a bunch of images. Well, at first, it had me use the keys E and I, and for every image that related to a abled person, I choose E, and then for every image that that related with a disabled person, I would choose I. And so basically just click the keys as fast as you can. If you get them wrong, a red X will pop up. And at first I was kind of confused, oh, what's the point of doing this? Am I memorizing stuff here? But basically there's 7 rounds of this. And then also the next round, it has you associate E with good words and I with bad words. And then it kind of flip-flops, and it has you use E and I, or E for both good words and signs related to abled people. Basically, so I took this as kind of a competition to see how fast could I really do this, how good are my sensory skills, I guess you could say. But anyways, so the score I ended up getting, it says that I have a 37% strong automatic preference for abled people compared to disabled people. And to be fair, I don't necessarily agree with the results of this test because I feel like I was confused and I was just trying my best to like click them as fast as I can. But I guess the point of that test though, and then like having you click those keys as fast as you can, just to see how, if you already have an automatic, bias or response to those different things. And as other tests go on, I could definitely see how I definitely have like a hidden bias. Not necessarily to mean I'm prejudiced or anything, but maybe naturally I'm a little bit biased. And it was eye-opening. So the next one I did was overweight compared to thin people, and it said I had a 31% automatic response to strong automatic preference for thin people compared to fat people. And so I don't really agree with the results of this one too much either, just because, instead of signs like it did in the disabled bias test, this one would show silhouettes of thinner people compared to fatter people. And so it was pretty easy to identify no matter which keys switched or which results switched with the keys. And so that one is like, of course, I'm going to have more of an automatic response because it's easier to pinpoint. But yeah, and then the third one was religion. And basically it showed like images that are associated with Judaism, like the Star of David, and then images that related with Christianity, like the cross, and would have me, it would be those signs instead of like signs that resulted with how's it going? Oh, sorry about that. With like thinner, fatter people, but basically, this one I think I would have the most prejudice in because I live in a fairly religious community. I'm not too familiar with Judaism, and so I would of course have a more automatic response to Christianity. But basically, I ended up having the highest was a 27% moderate automatic preference for Christianity compared to Judaism, which I was surprised with. So, maybe my bias is a lot more hidden than I actually thought, but yeah, it was really interesting.